Hello, hello, hello. Welcome one and all to the Croc Legend of the Gobbos any percent speedrun submission video. As we join ourselves with this lovely intro of Croc's origins. He is adopted by the beloved Gobbos, who take him in, and then he absolutely has a bit of a bawl and a shout because he's upset and angry and whatever, you know, he's hungry. He tries to have a little bit of a walk, and then he has a stumble, whoops-a-daisy, and the Gobbos are like, come on, man. And they have a bit of a race, for some reason. Then they do Kung Fu training, because why not? And then the King Gobbo gets his backside kicked there, which is not nice. Then Croc has a bit of a growth spurt, you know, because I had that when I was growing up, you know, just a few hours later, I just went up in the air. But darkness lurks quite literally behind the Gobbos, because there's a Bowser clone, which is known as Baron Dante, who's the, he is the Bowser clone for all intents and purposes, with his minions, the Dantinis, who sound like Bart Simpson when they have a chuckle. It's kind of annoying that I have to keep that in my head now for the rest of my life when I play this game now. So Baron Dante comes, causes trouble, and then Baron Dante and the Dantinis steal all the Gobbos. Some of them run away, which it's kind of weird, because some of them escape, but then not all of them. So we don't have to rescue all of them, I suppose. But for some reason, the King Gobbo decides, right, Croc, we don't need you. We can handle this. See ya. And then Croc just gets teleported away. And then the King gets immediately kidnapped. Because this is pretty much a Super Mario clone in terms of storylines. And we see the poor King Gobbo regretting his mistake of sending Croc away. Oh dear. But anyway, let's get started with Croc. So, what is Croc exactly? Croc is a 3D platformer for the PlayStation 1. It is one of the more well-known 3D platformers. A lot of people probably have played this growing up, which is interesting because while it did sell really well, it didn't sell as well as you'd expect. Like, the game was popular and it was well-known and people bought it. But it feels like it was a little bit behind some of the other games at the time, like, you know, Spyro and Crash. But hey, it stands out on its own. It has a sequel. I might show that off one day. But I assure you the sequel is drastically different to the first game in terms of how the gameplay works. But we're going to explain how the game works as we go along. We're going to be doing some tricks right from the start, and I'm going to explain them as easily as possible and without trying to confuse you. So, without further ado, let's get started in 64, 2, 7, 5, go. And we start with 1-1, and so the adventure begins. So, immediately off the bat, we've got some basic controls. We can jump with X, we can do a slam attack with X again. And for some reason my controller didn't work for a split second. You might be wondering, why is a crocodile hovering around? Well, we're going to get into that in a moment. So, basically, we can jump around obviously with X, we can do a spin attack with square. There's a couple camera controls, but we'd have to worry about that. But the big thing you might be wondering is, how do we hover? So, basically, when we jump, if we do a spin attack and then press X immediately, then we can hover. And if we do it on certain frames, we get longer hovers, and if we do it on some other frames, we get shorter hovers. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up for another trick here. Oh, going to have to wait till the worm thing goes around. And this is going to allow us to get some extra lives at the start of the game. But it's a little bit tricky, this, so bear with me a second. Nice. So I'm going to wait till the crystal counter in the top left goes to 999, then press X. And now we have an extra 10 lives as we go into 1 and 2. The reason why we do that is because we need the extra lives just as insurance in case things go wrong in the run. Some levels you can easily lose quite a lot of lives. So that's a slam attack, as I explained before. It allows us to enter certain areas and kill certain enemies. And immediately when we enter this section here, we hold up just so we can go onto the platform quicker. Now, in terms of the movement, we're going to be mainly doing diagonal movement when we're doing our hovers, just because that's the quicker way to move. Even if you're not hovering, moving diagonally is quicker. And then that's 1, 2 done. So the initial levels are pretty short. In fact, the whole first world is only around about 8 minutes long, if we're comparing it to my splits at the moment, but you can go a little bit quicker than that. So 1-3 starts you off in this like lava pit area. got to watch out that you don't fall into the lava immediately. We're going to try and do a bit of a hover there, and we failed there, that's fine. So the thing about the hovers, they're not the easiest thing to perform. Once you get a sort of rhythm with the hovers, then it becomes a little bit easier to do, but in terms of getting the type of hover you want, whether it's a short, medium or long hover, that can be hit and miss. So it's going to be a case of we'll either get the hover that we want or we don't. But we have a good idea on what kind of timings we need to do when we're pressing everything. So here I'm going to try and get up here quickly. That way I skip a cycle for the thing going back up. And there we go, that's 1-3 done. At the end of every third level in each world, we'll encounter one of the bosses. So the first boss is Feeble. Feeble is essentially this weird duck that gets grown by Baron Dante, which we're not going to see in the cutscene, unfortunately. And basically we have to go defeat him. Each boss pretty much takes 3 hits, with the exception of Baron Dante, who takes 9 because he has 3 phases. So we're going to hover over here, so we'd have to wait all day. Get the extra life. As I said, extra lives are always welcome, especially in a marathon run, because it means that we can maintain ourselves longer in a level, even if we make mistakes. And mistakes will happen for sure. So we're going to keep trying to hover across here, making sure not to get hit, because this is like Sonic the Hedgehog in the sense that if you get hit without any crystals, you die. So this is Feeble. He walks around going clink, clonk, clink, clonk, and then he goes stop on the spot, and he goes twang like a spring. And we do that 3 times. So every time we hit him, he does it a little bit longer. It's as straightforward as that. Of course, you don't want to die at any time in the boss, otherwise you have to do it all again. So again, do a U-turn. You can press circle to do a 180 basically, it just makes things a little bit easier sometimes. So again, one of the easier bosses, but I should say that all the bosses are pretty much easy in this game, with the exception of Neptuna, which we'll get into later. Last hit, and then we split there. So plus 25, that's fine. A little bit messy because of that one death that we had, but overall, not too bad. We also had a bit of time loss as well from the first world, just when we're trying to set up for the life glitch. It's important that we get those lives though, like no matter what. So now we're into 1-4. We're going to go over here, jump up, and then go through this door. There are multiple ways to do this level. You can either go onto the box at the start and then hover across, or you can just go to the ladder. These are falling platforms. When you stand on them, they fall. You do not want to be standing on them when that happens. And you also don't want to be touching the lava as well. So again, we're going to be trying to do as many diagonal movements as possible, just so we can keep moving, as well as the hovers at the same time. And that's pretty much 1-4 done, because we just go to the bottom left here, and then that's the exit. Again, the first world is relatively quick. It's not too long. And then we're moving swiftly on to 1-5, which is also known as Cave Fear. So with this one here, we're going to go to the top left of the level at the beginning. That's where the doorway is that we're going to take, and we're going to take a balloon on this level. Balloons are one of Croc's favourite things. It lets him fly around, but we're not going to be using balloons too often in the game, because we're not even going to use it at all. There we go. I'm sorry. We only got to see the balloon for a split second until it went pop. And then we're going to go over here, do a hover over here. Oops, unfortunately touch the lava. And touch the lava again. The problem with the game is as well, like I said, the hovers can be hit and miss. Also, jump scare. These worm creatures usually lurk in these like sort of wells. When you first play this game, they will probably jump scare you for sure. Unless you've just seen this, in which case they're not going to jump scare you now. Moving on to the final main level of World 1, 1-6. So 1-6, again, it can be quite a tricky level if you try and do it casually, but if you do the speedrun, you can pretty much skip it all. So essentially, we just skip to the door here instead of having to go on these like girders and crawl our way around and everything. And then here we can just hover across these platforms, or we can jump across them. Just be careful, of course, because you don't want to die at any point, otherwise you just lose quite a significant amount of time. Since, obviously, if you die in a room, you have to reset that room again. And pretty much everything resets, so... Now we're going to go on these awkward ladders. Ladders in this game are really hit and miss, like, they're not good. So... Gonna go around here. And again, the game is quite good in the sense that you can kind of choose your own routing a little bit. So some people might take a riskier, longer hover, which might not always happen, and try and go straight to the goal from like the midpoint or whatever. But for me, I tend to go in the middle. I usually take some decent hovers. Like, I don't want to take it too safe, otherwise I'll lose too much time. And now we're on to the second boss of World 1, also known as Flibby. And we immediately fall off. That is clearly intentional. And again, we're trying to get the hover here as well. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Happen there, which is good. We don't need any crystals for the bosses usually as well. Baron Dante, we might just hold on to at least one, if possible. Just because Baron Dante can be quite rough late game. Whoops. And again, this is why we've got tons of lives. Now, I think for the marathon as well, depending on how things go, I might actually consider going for 1-1 twice to get even more lives. Just, you know, for insurance purposes, really. And now we're into the boxing arena with Flibby. Flibby is a ladybug that likes to try and throw punches at us. We kick him down and we stomp on him, just like you would do in boxing, clearly. But Flibby's not too happy with that, so then he does like a bit of a slam attack, and then he does his normal punch. And again, just move back, slap him with the tail, slam him down. And then just move around a little bit because you need to give him some more space for the next one. And then we move over here, slam attack, and then one more. Nice. And then we do one more ground pound, and then that's Flibby done. And that's the first world completed. So yeah, the first world's pretty quick. I'd say all of the worlds you can do in roughly 10 minutes, to be fair. And now on to World 2, which is sort of the winter, like sort of Christmassy winter tundra levels. It's very nice here, especially when the music also gets themed up based on the locations as well. I thought I was going to slip off then, because some of the floors can be a little bit icy. So we're pretty much nearly done with this level already. There's only like 2 or 3 more rooms to go. Again, early game levels usually are pretty quick, so I'm going to hover over here. So Croc can he can grab onto certain ledges. But you got to be careful with that, because not all ledges are grabbable. Like, some usually are, some aren't. And sometimes you might try and grab onto a ledge and then it just doesn't work, so we're going to skip all this section here by just doing a hover there. Taking damage is fine because we had crystals, and then the exit is right here. Look at that. Easy peasy. But yeah, I like the winter levels. I just like it for the music. In fact, the entire soundtrack is just fantastic. I think Argonaut Software was... It was an amazing company because there's a lot of history. They, there's like... Ooh, there's a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of history because obviously they've worked with Nintendo. They helped create the Super FX chip, which obviously made games like Star Fox and other SNES games, which I don't remember that used the FX chip now. I have to actually look into the SNES a bit more because I did grow up with the SNES, but I didn't really get a chance to play too many games on it growing up. So here we're just going to go up here. Whoops, and then fall down, because that was intentional. So obviously there I got an extremely short hover, because I timed everything wrong. But that's fine, and we're at the end of the level. So again, relatively short levels to begin with here. And then they just get a little bit longer and longer. I would definitely say probably World 3 onwards is probably where things get a lot longer in terms of level lengths. Riot Brew. Now, this level can be reasonably long, but we can take a shortcut at the start, which skips a bit of it. Can we get the hover? Nice. So that was a pretty long hover there. So if we can get stuff like that later on, that'd be amazing. We're into a bonus room at the moment, but of course we can ignore it. Because you may have noticed we're not really collecting any of these gobos that have gone missing. And that's because, basically, we don't need to. So, this is an underwater section. This is one of probably 4 or 5 underwater sections in the game. There isn't that many. So you'll see some underwater sections and that's it. Like, they kind of just vanish. So, I think there's a couple in this world and there's a couple in World 3 as well. Can we get the hover? Nope. So we'll take the switch this time so we don't burn up more lives. Just jump across, it's fine. Sometimes you just have to give in and just take the switch. Obviously in runs, we would be aggressively trying to get as many long hovers as possible because it's the most optimal way to do the levels. Here, we're just going to fall down. So, the level here asks you to use the gold key on another gold door to get another gold key. Because it doesn't ever expect you to realise you can just fall down to that door there and just open it. So the devs never really thought that you were going to ever do that. Because you wouldn't realise it. So... Right, that's the first 3 levels done. Now we're on to Chumley. Chumley is probably... I don't know, probably the easiest boss of the game. Compared to, like, Feeble, I'd say very easy. I don't know, though, because Fossely's pretty easy as well, which we'll see later. Oops, and the penguin took us out. That's awesome. So again, got to be a little bit cautious of our lives. Because, again, if we run out of lives, we have to do the level again. So we might lose, like, a minute or 2. So here, you can do a long hover, but because I'm low on lives, I'm going to have to return as many lives as possible for late game. Because they're going to be extremely vital when it comes to certain long hovers later. So now we're entering the Chumley boss fight. He's got a bit of a jetpack. I don't know what he is exactly. He's a creature. And we spin our tail the moment that he moves. It's going to go in front of him again. And basically you can tell that we're not getting hit by him. But we can just spin the moment he's about to land and it hits him still. And that's it. Done. So yeah, Chumley's a pretty simple fight. You just stand still, wait till he's about to land, spin, go forward, do the same, rinse and repeat 3 times. All done. Next up, I know him so well. Indeed. Indeed I do. So we're going to go to the top left here where there's a door. I'm going to jump across here. Something you'll have to realise if you ever start learning this game. It can be quite mazy. The game initially, because obviously there's so many doors and locations. So we're going to grab some crystals later, because these crystals are probably going to be extremely important that we get them. I think there's some in here. So again, it's also remembering which boxes have crystals, because sometimes you need them, and sometimes boxes don't have crystals, they have gobos. You may have also noticed there's coloured crystals as well, and these coloured crystals are useless in our run. They're just used for the bonus room. Oh, these are good hovers. Right, so we've got a chance to try and do a little skip here at the exit. So we're going to go over to this waterfall here. I'm going to go to this box. Nice, there we go. So we'll do a bit of a damage boost up there. And that's why we needed the crystals, basically. Otherwise, we'd have to press a button, wait for an elevator to come down, then take us back up, and then we'd have to jump across some more platforms, which we could easily fall down. And we don't want to do that, of course. Next up is 2-5. 2-5, we start off indoors. So we're going to go to the right here and just try and hover across here. Nice. Gotta grab a crystal just for insurance. There's a gobbo there. I'm not going to save him. I actively tried to avoid saving him. It's not slow or anything, I just don't want to because we don't save any of them on this run. Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal now, so I have to be careful here. There we go. Nicely done. This isn't a too bad run, actually. I mean, we've had some deaths, but that's kind of expected. We had a bad start as well. So we just automatically lost 25 seconds just trying to do the life glitch at the start. So, next level. Next room, sorry. I'm going to push a box here. There is a quicker way to do this room, but it's a little bit awkward in terms of positioning. So this platform here, you can ledge grab, but you can only ledge grab from one point on it. If you try to ledge grab from any of the other points, it doesn't work. So the other way to do that is by jumping on the side of the wall in a certain position, and then just hovering directly onto the platform instead. Whoa. So we're nearly at the end. This is the last room. Let's see if I could just get across. These small platforms, you have to be very careful, because Croc can easily get jammed underneath. And the idea is if you touch anything like lava or something like ice water twice in a row, you just die. So It's important not to get underneath those platforms because you just instantly die since you've just straight away touched the floor twice. So, not too good. Next, we're going to go into this room here. Simple as that. Level's not done, of course. We've still got a bit more to this level. We're going outdoors again. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. Gotta watch out for this Dantini. Hey! So those flying Dantinis can be a problem. I don't know why I did a butt bounce there. I just wanted to show it off again. This room here, there's a couple skips you can do. What we're going to try and do is we're going to try and hover to this platform. Unfortunately, he didn't want to grab it, so we're going to wait a second and wait till he comes around. Nope, he doesn't want to grab it. So again, Croc has a habit of just not grabbing things. We're going to see that quite a bit in some of the later levels, like late game, where he just refuses outright to grab a single thing. So here I'm going to hit the button just for safety, because I am quite low on lives and trying to do a hover here might mean I might lose another one. So reserving the lives, so that's why I got some crystals. We're reserving the lives just for, you know, some of the more trickier tricks that I need the lives for. And we're pretty much done with 2-6. This is the end. I'm going to go over here, and then we're going to hover across. You can just straight away hover to this, but if you miss the hover, then you fall into the acid, and there's no way to recover that because you're too far away from any land, basically. So now we're on to the second boss of the second world, Demonitzi. Demonitzi is a very interesting boss because it has the tendency to lag the game heavily to the point where you can actually crash the game. So this is a bit of a dangerous point. Don't worry if this happens in a marathon, though, because we have passwords to easily get back to where we have to go back to. Unfortunately, I fell off, so that's fine. Oops. Croc, please. So yeah, as you can see, the floor is pretty icy. It's not exactly the best right now. You can do a big long hover to the end of this room to save a heap amount of time, but it has to be pretty much the best hover you can ever do, really. And considering I've only got one life left at the moment, that's not too good. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to backtrack at the end of this level and go get some more lives from the first level again, which is always good to do sometimes. So you can just stand on here, you'll be alright. Still keep the crystals. And if you can do a hover here, go for it. So Demonitzi actually has 8 HP. I lied earlier. This one actually has a bit more HP because every time you hit Demonitzi, he basically splits into 2. So we're going to bait him onto the floor like a butt bounce like that. Split him into 2. I don't know if these two are going to cooperate. Nope. So you can see the game is like lagging a little bit when they were all spawning in, so that's fine. So yeah, basically when you hit him, he splits into 2, and then if you hit him again, he splits into 2 more, and then the last one, you can just hit him and he dies. But yeah, if you do too much of that at once, then basically you just lag the game heavily to the point where it will just crash. So, as I said, we're going to quickly detour over to the first world again, just so we can get some extra lives. There's no harm in doing this. When you start doing runs of this game as well, just like I did, sometimes you just have to come back here. And it's hard to tell how many lives you want to take until you obviously realise, oh, I need some more lives. So, we're just going to do this one quickly again, get 10 more lives, why not? Same as always, just go into the gong here. Interestingly enough, you can actually do this on the Japanese version, because the gong is actually placed a little bit further away. Why this is the case, I don't know. There we go. And you got to wait till the music comes back again before you press X, otherwise the crystals do not count. And now we repeatedly press right all the way back to World 3. It's as simple as that. And now we're into the sort of siesta sort of, it's quite like a sort of salsa mix, the OST in it. It's really cool. Like, all the music always has like this sort of iconic theme music for like each world, but it's remixed in the way. Gotta grab this key. We would normally death abuse here, but again, lives are precious, so I'm actually going to keep that life. There is another way of tackling this room as well. The way I do it is one of the slower ways, but you can actually hover across the top section up here and actually just fall behind the door where the trigger is for the door. And yeah, you can just do it that way. But that one does take a bit of time, and it does require a pretty decent hover as well. So, right, so we're into 2 more rooms to go. This is the second to last room. Again, you can skip pretty much everything. Just make sure that your hovers are decent enough, otherwise you're going to fall straight down into the acid. Oh, well, I don't know what it is. No, it's like tar, isn't it, on this one? Which is interesting that the tar... Well, I suppose it is boiling, so I suppose it would scald you, I suppose. But yeah, that's 3-1-1-3-2 Mud Pit Mania. Mud Pit Mania is... it's a level. It's got an interesting start, because sometimes I'd lose a lot of lives here for some reason. I'm going to try and do a hover there. I'm going to jump on the edge there. So you can actually jump on the edges of where the tar pits are. Oops, didn't want to accidentally go back in there, which is good. And we can just skip all this section here and just go straight into the next pipe. What's funny is you can go into this pipe and then you end up underwater. It doesn't make sense. So, game logic. Gonna pick up a crystal. Oops, and then lose it immediately, of course. Oh, we're fine, okay. I wasn't sure how long that gate was gonna stay open for. This Dantini might shoot us. Nope. So certain Dantinis underwater have the ability to shoot fireballs at you. Some on the ground can also do that as well. But these ones are a little bit scarier because they're a bit accurate. And with no crystals, yeah, that's a little bit concerning. So you can see a shot one in the doorway, so that's why I went a little bit lower down. And we're nearly done with this level. Now we're going outside again, or into the darkness. We have fireflies to help out with the visuals. Well, visuals? The lighting, sorry. Well, they are a visual, I suppose, but there's also an extra life over here, which I really want. Thank you. And there we go. So yeah, you could see that a lot of games are quite fast-paced, for sure. Like, games? Did I say games? Sorry, a lot of levels are fast-paced. A lot of things are happening, especially when we're hovering around, like, all the time, so... I'm just going to just delay my start here, so I can jump onto this. Lovely. Got a bit of a medium hover coming up here. I can wait a couple seconds to make it easier into, like, a shorter hover, but I'm not going to do that. But here, we're going to do a bit of death abuse. So I'm going to jump onto this one here, jump over here, trying to hover across here. Nice. Grab the key, and then just fall down. It's quicker to do this than going all the way back across these platforms. So you can just leave quickly. Again, that's why lives are required. You can still do this without collecting the lives with the glitch at the start of the game. Some runners do that. And especially with like Japanese runners, like the Japanese copy runners, they have to basically do the game with just the default amount of lives. And it can suck that, because obviously, you know, you've got no insurance then for any issues then. So we're going to go back underwater here. Just going to go pick up a key. Pretty much in the last room already. So we're going to go to the right here. So it's important not to do too many strokes, because if you count how many strokes you do, you can do a U-turn whenever you want. Because if you start mashing X and then you want to press circle to do a 180, you've got to wait till it finishes doing all the strokes before the 180 actually happens. So it's a bit of a queue system when it comes to like your movement, I suppose. Can we get up this one? Nice. This one we have to grab. Again, this one's not too bad. I kind of forgot what estimate I put actually. So let's take a look while we're loading up the next level, because that is clearly what we're going to be doing in the submission ticker. Because I think I did put I put a 55. Okay. Yeah, I think a 55 I can easily manage. I say that now, but now I'm nervous. It's fine. I might adjust it a little bit. Because like I said, I love Croc. It's a great game. And I think I put that submission maybe at 55 because I thought I was going to maybe do the remaster. which I have not got into yet, actually. Yes, there is a remaster of this game. It was recently released about 3 months ago, 4 months ago. So it's not so bad. It's actually a really good remake. The reason why I'm not running it though, it's just it's not for me in terms of a speedrun. The game plays a little bit differently. I'm gonna go down. Oh no! So the Neptuna hitbox here is a little bit dodgy. So basically, you have to swing a little bit earlier than you think. Oh, that's well. There we go. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, and then we go down. Again, we don't want to overmash, so we know where we are. Oh, that was close. Uh-oh. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. I think I'm going to increase my estimate to maybe 1 hour. I say that because I'm just not too sure. I like this game, and I know this game. It's just that this game can be a bit stressful sometimes, especially if you die to the last hit of a boss and you lose a significant amount of time there. Right, so on 3-4, oops, we're going to get off this box. But yeah, Neptuna was one of the, probably one of the harder bosses, if not the hardest boss of the run. So you can see how sort of concentrated I was with that one, because I need to work out where I am position-wise. So I'm going to try and do a hover here. Nice, that's what we like to see. That section can be annoying if you don't do the hover, because you have to wait for that Dantini to stop bouncing on the grating. Gonna jump up here, do a hover over here. Try and get out, try and get out. Try and get across. Ooh, nice. Just trying to save as many lives as possible there. Right, so now we're into probably one of the harder rooms of the run. Especially with no crystals. Nice, nice, that's excellent. So you have to usually try and hover across that. If you get pretty close, but you're about to fall onto the ledge, just try and keep jumping, and then you'll basically be fine. We're going to do another death abuse in this room as well. We're going to have to get a crystal just for safety. Just going to go over here. That's fine. Never fall in, and then we just turn around. Otherwise, we'd just be doing the walk of shame back, which is not necessary. And now we're going to be doing a hover over here to the sidewall. Going to keep jumping on the edge because we can, and then we just walk through. So in the past, this was probably one of my hardest levels to deal with because I kept getting a game over all the time. And yeah, that was not good. So I'm really happy that went well. Okay, cool. In fact, that level was pretty good. I'm hoping to finish this run soon, because I don't want to be a bother, but I kind of need the bathroom. I could pause the run, technically, because I'm not obviously going to submit this, but we're speedrunners, we got to go quick. As long as I finish the game in under the estimate, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Yeah. Don't worry, if this happens in a marathon, I hope it doesn't happen in a marathon. I've done marathons for a while now and never had to do that yet. So, but yeah, Leap of Faith. Leap of Faith is probably one of the more annoying levels just because the platforms start getting smaller and smaller later. You can also do a little thing here where you can just hold forward and not fall off these boxes. I'm going to try and fall into the pipe. Oh, nearly. And then we go back outside. We just got to hit this button over here to unclog the next pipe, because we can't actually go into it just yet. We do that, and then the pipe is now open. We actually don't have to hit that button again now, even if we died here. Now, doing this level casually is the worst, because some of these jumps, they are possible. They are possible without hovers, but I assure you, you are going to fall quite a lot in this level, because this game is very unforgiving on this level. Because the gaps between the platforms are as tight as they can be, basically. but it's also the size of the platforms, and it's just how you can easily slip off as well. So, just going to do a hover stationary there. Stationary hover, sorry. And then we're going to go in here, into the last room. Getting that extra life on the way there as well. So if I try and do these jumps there, they are super tight. And I do not recommend them. Just going to do a hover there, just so I can make this a little bit easier. Just going to be a bit careful here. Okay. Don't worry about these pendulums. Even if they hit you, you can still keep moving. Just make sure that you're in the air when you're hit. Because when you're hit on the ground, Croc has like a bit of a stun animation. And not only it's slower, but it's also dangerous in some areas. Because you might be about to fall off somewhere if you're on like a breaking platform or something. Right, onto 3-6. 3-6, again, a very easy level. You know, I did say that this world was a longer world, but it's actually reasonably short still. So we just go in there, grab the key, and then we go open the door. And then we're only like 3 or 4 rooms to go. And then we're on to one of the more funnier bosses, which has quite a unique glitch to it, which we're going to be able to showcase in a bit. So I'm going to grab that firefly. It's not necessary, but it just lets us show the room a little bit. Lets you show what's going on. So hitting that is not too good, but it's fine because we can just do a U-turn immediately. Or we can just jump backwards and grab this crystal. Some crystals all around that well there. Just need it just for protection here. I don't care if I lose it there. I do care about not getting hit again there, though. Thank you. And then we just fall and do a death abuse. And then we just do a U-turn. And back into the pipe we go. Easy. And now we get the firefly again. We can just hover past everything. You can even just jump on the edge, really. Again, it's just that easy if you know the routing and you know where you can and can't stand on. So here, I'm just going to hold forward. Don't need the key. The key is just for the gobbo in this room. And now we're into the final room. And then we're on to Cactus Jack. So this world's actually been pretty excellent. A couple mistakes here and there. But very good world, yeah. Because Cactus Jack, I already know, is a very quick boss. Cactus Jack, yeah, well, he's a cactus, but he's an overgrown cactus. So think of him as like Big the Cat from Sonic Heroes or the Sonic franchise, but a cactus. And he goes oof every time you hit him as well. So it's very, very funny. I'm gonna grab that extra life. It's always good. Actually, this potentially might be a gold. I doubt it, but I don't know. It just depends on how the rest of the level goes. I would be surprised if it's a gold, but I guess not so surprised. So, hey. So here, we're going to hit him immediately because you can actually just do that. And then run away. Run away immediately. Go grab a crystal. We're going to try and spin attack him just to stop him. And there we go. We're going to try and do it again. So when you spin attack him, he just stops his animation. It's not intentional, but for some reason you can just interrupt his animation by just spinning him. And we did get a gold there, which was very nice. And now that's Cactus Jack done. We're on to the final world. And 4-1, the Tower of Power is probably one of the more brutal levels to come. This isn't the brutal level, but it's one of them. Because it has quite a long hover that we have to perform if we want to skip a decent-sized chunk of this level. I nearly fell then. Now, we are going to try and do one long hover here. Normally, I wouldn't do it in runs, but well, this is a marathon submission video. Of course, we're going to take some risks. That's not going to make it, though. I'll tell you what, let's give it one more try. Oh, nice, I got it. So that skips doing this box puzzle. Normally, I don't do this in runs, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So we saved a little bit of time, not too much, but we saved some time. So here we're going to jump up onto this. Normally you're not meant to grab on top of this, but there is actually a little ledge you can grab on. And then we're just going to wait for the platform. Because otherwise you have to crawl underneath, and that's actually one of the harder sections to crawl on the girder thing, or the grating. Just because the flying Dantini is just it's just a nuisance. It's just in the way, so... I'm going to try and do a longish hover here. That's not a hover, that's a ground pound. Hey! Anyway, that's fine. I love this game, though. Like, this is the thing. I love running this game, but I love the game still, and that's important when it comes to speedrunning. Nice. That was actually really good. Very nice. So basically, we skip having to do the mechanism in that room. I didn't hold up at the start here, which just my fault. I just forgot to do it. That just skips us waiting this cycle here for the elevator going up and down. We can just go straight across. There's a pendulum here. We're going to have to wait till it goes back, because the hitbox is pretty massive on this. And we're going to hover out of the way, because we're always going to get hit pretty much if we don't. We're going to go from crystals up at the top just for safety. And this is pretty much the tower power done. There's just one more room to go, which is inside the castle. Nice. And then we just jump in. And then we go into the spooky section, where these sort of Grim Reapers spin around, spinning their scythes, but we can avoid them by just hovering past them. You can kill them with a ground pound, if it's reasonably close. So, 4-2. 4-2, hassle in the castle. Yes, it is a bit of a hassle in the castle, this one. This is probably one of the levels that has the most hovers. Pretty much just because, like, the hovers you're doing at the start of the level, and also later on, are needed for the speedrun in a way, I guess. So that's unfortunate. That's just how it happens, though. Just how things are, I guess. There we go. So here we're just going to stand still. Because if you try and hold forward to try and land on this, you'll never hit it. These platforms you can't land on when you enter the room. Some you can, some you can't, so... Gotta grab these crystals. We're probably going to get hit by the boulder. Yep, that's fine. But yeah, so, as I said before, the remaster's pretty good. There's always something about a remaster where, like, it's obviously not like the original. But interesting enough, Croc is actually based off the original source code of the game. So, I have to be careful there because I don't have any crystals. So, yeah, we're going to have to take our time with this one because we actually have to be careful. Oh, that was close. Okay. Gonna hover over here. Oh, I suppose I'll not save that gobble, yeah. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about saving the gobble, but I was like, nah, I've got to keep that theme. I'm going to try and skip a bit of this if we can. Unfortunate. Let's try it one more time. Let's try a long hover here. Nice, there we go. Again, I don't normally go for long hovers, but it's always cool to show them off. And then we're pretty much at the last room. Gotta watch out for this Dantini because he's going to shoot his fireballs, so we just wait a second there. Grab a crystal up here, which is going to be good. Just in case you get hit, but you're unlikely to get hit by these Dantinis. I should be hovering there, but it's fine. The hovering does get tiring because you're having to constantly do, like, sort of jump, square, jump. It's, yeah, it's a bit tedious sometimes, so... Dungeon of Defright. Dungeon of Defright is, I think it's probably one of the easiest levels in the game. Unless the Grim Reaper takes you out like that. And it's one of the easiest levels, because all we do is we'll grab this key, and then we just leave the room. And out this room, we have, like, back-to-back minigames, basically. So we have the one where you have to find the gobbo. Where is the gobbo, right? Watch him, where's the gobbo? He's going right, left, right, and then, oh, where could it be? Where could it be? I don't care, because we're going to skip him. Sorry. But I think he was in the left. I wasn't really paying attention. Here is where you would chase the box. Sorry, spider. But yeah, you would chase the box in that room until you get the thing. This is the cooking minigame where you would cook crystals and then you'd also get gobbos to collect the gobbos. Then we have a sheep minigame here. Unfortunately, we're not going to do that either. So yeah, this level is just full of minigames. It's like a bonus level, pretty much. Even though there is a bonus level afterwards. This is the funny balloon guy. I think he's got a name, but I don't know. We're going to call him Jeff. And unfortunately, Jeff is going to open the door for us. But yeah, I have to let him go pop to open the door. So sorry, Jeff. We'll see you later. We're not going to grab any lives. We're going to grab 2 though. Skip the gobble, of course. But yeah, we've got plenty of lives at this point, so we shouldn't really need to be collecting all of them. And now we're on to the second to last boss of the game, Fossley. Fossley is it's another easy boss. Of course, you know, because the bosses are pretty simple. But Fossley's pretty cool, because you throw TNT at him, basically. It's kind of funny. So, we're going to try and do a hover over here. Nice. These platforms will collapse the moment you touch them, so you've really got to keep moving. And that's especially for this section as well. So hovers can be done here, but you've got to be careful, because if you mess up a hover, or you mess up some timings, you're actually going to just fall and die. So, and there we go. And then the boss is as simple as just standing next to these platforms here, letting Fossley throw the TNT, and then just walking across it, or jumping across it. So he throws it, away it goes, we jump across, and then the TNT walks on it and just goes back into him. And we do this 3 times. And again, this is no different on the remake as well, or the remaster, because it's the same game. So yeah, this is a bit of a sleeper boss, but they kind of all are, to be fair. Baron Dante is pretty cool, but there we go. Right, on to the final 3 levels, and then I can go to the bathroom. Yes. Right, 4-4, Ballistic Meg's Fairway. This is a bit of a cool skip because we're going to go out of bounds for the first time in this run. We're going to go out of bounds in a moment once we cross across this, which you can just even jump across. You can jump across that gap and just ledge grab. It's as simple as that with that section. So we're going to go to this door over here, which normally would need a key. Hopefully we can get the hover to get across. Oh, nearly. If we can't get it this time, we're going to have to use the railing, just because we need some lives for later still. Nice. Okay, so we're going to do a hover here. And then just go in the wall. There we go. And we just trigger the thing. Go through the door. Easy. Again, everything's pretty fast-paced with this run. Like, a lot of the things are happening. Hovers are happening. So, yeah. You can do a hover to that other grating there, but I'm feeling a bit more confident just to stand there. So I can grab that. And then this level is pretty much done. There's just one more room to go. And that's 4-4 done. So, even though this is probably one of the longest worlds to deal with, some levels are just super short in terms of the speedrun route. Because obviously we can do a lot of these like skips that skip like 5 different rooms. We've got to watch out for... oh, what's his name again? I forgot now. I'm not doing good with the character names for some of these enemies. I'm just going to call him another Fastantini. They're all villains of Baron Dante, so... Again, Super Mario has different enemy types and everything, so... So now we're into 4-5, which is sort of multiple elevator rides on this one. So we're going to ride this first elevator here with a nice little coloured crystal at the start. And then we're going to stand still, and then we're going to face off against these pirates, which we can just wipe away. We can just stay in the middle, and the hitbox for the tail is big enough to hit the pirates. As long as you do it quick enough, then you're fine, but if they hit you, of course, it's not too good. This is actually a timed event, this as well, so it doesn't matter how many pirates you take care of. You've just got to wait till the elevator goes down. And that's pretty much it. We've got another one coming up, but we're going to actually skip the elevator on the next room. And I'm just going to have a bit of silence, of course, at this point, when I do that. Just so I can do the timing. So I'm going to listen out for a timing here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we let go. And then we land here. You can actually get straight to the door, but my way of doing it just makes sure that I actually land on those blocks down below. And then we're pretty much getting to the end of this level already. We've got 2 more of these elevator-style rooms to deal with, and then we're done. Oops. Again, this is not where you want to take damage because you're on a crumbling platform, and yeah, that's not too good. You can try and hover across there, even if you fail, it doesn't matter because you can just jump up. Another room here. Just hold forward here. I'm going to try and hover across. Oh, nearly. Bit unfortunate. The next level coming up, 4-6, is considered probably one of the more tricky levels casually. Especially when we did the blind race of Croc with other people. A lot of people had trouble with this level, 4-6, that's coming up. But in the speedrun, we're going to show you how to do it even quickly. In a casual way, of course. So, sorry. I was just waiting for the game to load then. Right, time for 4-6. And we've got quite a few lives as well. So we're going to hopefully try and do this cycle skip as well in the second room with this one. But I'm going to now introduce you to our best friend, the Cookie Monster. Because the Cookie Monster's in this game, of course. You know, why wouldn't he be? But he's called Platform Pete, basically, in the game. And, yeah, he looks exactly like the Cookie Monster, as you can just, like, see there. Just... yeah. It's great. I did forget to get some crystals, so I couldn't do the cycle skip here, but that's fine. So we just have to jump up these. You've got plenty of time to go across these. You even got time to get that green crystal, which doesn't give you any crystals whatsoever. So now we're into this next room here. We're going to try and do a hover here. I'm going to try and do it one more time. Nice. There we go. That just skips doing those platforms. So again, if I've got the lives, I'll definitely do some of these bigger skips for sure. But I'd say at this point, if I only had like one extra life spare, I wouldn't do them because I need that extra life just in case things go wrong. So again, you can choose your options here. You can do hovers wherever you like. But I'm going to do it in these places just because it's a bit easier for me to deal with. There we go. And now when you enter this room, immediately hold up and get ready just to stop. There you go. That way you skip half of the room. You literally skip half of the platforms you have to jump on and everything. It's pretty great. So here you're going to have to be a little bit patient unless you've got crystals to do like damage abuse to skip some cycles. So just wait basically, because there's no point in rushing this if you don't have any crystals. You've got to wait until these flip the right way. And they're on a certain cycle anyway, so you've got to wait if you miss it, so... Ooh. Okay, that was scary. Okay, and that's the last main level done. We're now heading to the final boss. Oh, sorry. I'm that eager to finish this run now just because... yeah, I need the bathroom. I'm sorry to say this for the third time. This is absolute professionalism at its best right now. But hey, we're speedrunners. We go fast, don't we? So, gotta grab some crystals on this level before I enter the boss fight. Doesn't matter about these ones because we can grab some more in a moment. So even if we lose some here, it's fine. But I just need some crystals just in case Dante gets a hit on me. And it means that I'm not going to die to one of his phases later. And now we're into the final sort of platformer room of the game. This one's quite fun. Gonna hover across these. Oh, that's a shame. Right, I'm gonna wait now because I ain't got that many lives left. God, it's just that eagerness to finish this now. I have to do this for my own health now. I mean, obviously, stay hydrated, but don't overhydrate. Otherwise, you might need to dehydrate, so to speak, in the middle of the run. Anyway, welcome to Baron Dante, Phase 1. He's going to try and do one attack. He's going to try and slap me. And then when he goes, oh no, with his face, then you hit him. And then he tries to do another slap. Slaps are good. They're easier to avoid. But sometimes he does a slam attack. Like this. And that's Phase 1 done. He spins around going, wee. And then he's looking at us with a big evil stare. And then he runs towards the wall. And then we move out of the way. And then we hit him. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to go try that again. It didn't work the first time, so he's going to try it again. But basically, you've got to be patient here. You've got to let him charge. And you just move out of the way, because his hitbox is pretty big. And then he walks away in shame and in disgrace. He's like, damn. This one's pretty close to me. Also, if he hits you as well, you've got to do the whole thing again, like the whole hit again, basically. And now we're on to the final phase. So here we can just stand underneath him, and then wait until he falls, and then we hit him. So basically, this is the best way of avoiding damage. And time will be coming up very shortly. Oops. That's fine. I've got the crystal still. Again, you have crystals just in case things like that happen, so... And... time. Well, that was pretty good, actually. Well, we saved time, of course, on Baron Dante, because that final world was actually really good. If that was on PB pace, I would have saved a chunk of time, though. But, yeah, really happy with that run. And that is the end of Croc, Legend of the Gobbos, any percent. Croc celebrates with Rejoice, and then the Gobbos are saved. The Gobbo King is... Well, for some reason, Croc can now just destroy cages with his tail. I don't know why he couldn't do that earlier in the game, but I don't know. And then we get whisked away back to the island, where we can enjoy our sort of vacation, our freedom. They even erect a statue for us as well, you know, for us saving them. Because we clearly saved the Gobbos, didn't we? We clearly saved all these Gobbos, so why are they making a statue for us? Because for that run, we saved 0 Gobbos. And yet they're so happy to see me. Oh. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, if this run gets accepted, I'm looking forward to showcasing this for sure. It's just so joyful, it's fun, it's silly. It's got some cool tricks, including obviously the big one, the hovers. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to if this gets in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's been an absolute pleasure walking through this game with you, and I want to say thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I am going to do another submission video of something else, but that is a secret for now. I ain't going to reveal that till you see it on the submission ticker. And with that, we are going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you around. Bye-bye.